Hey guys, welcome back. I got the camera in a tripod, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the options you have. The enamel that's on the bamboo is basically bark. I mean, I'm not an expert on botany, so it is a skin. It's a rind. It's an outer covering. It protects the bamboo from damage, and it can be quite thick. Typically it's maybe 4 or 5 thou thick, so it's quite a bit of material you have to remove. And you can remove it anywhere along in the process. I tend to remove mine from the triangulated strips when they're fairly close to size, so that I'm just removing stuff that I have to. No point removing enamel on a wide strip and then beveling it all off. You can sand it off, although I find sanding is dusty. It's not great for you. It obscures the grain a little bit, but certainly it works fine. You can take it off with sandpaper, maybe 150, and then finish it off with something smoother. I tend to use, I use now basically just a simple, they call it a cabinet scraper, which is nothing more than a piece of steel. They used to call them Swedish steel. And you've got to learn how to prepare and burnish the edge, which is a woodworking thing. There's lots of information around. I basically, flattened it like I do the back of a plane on both sides. Then I flatten this, and then using a burnisher, which is a hard piece of carbide, I roll an edge on, and I use that burr to take off the enamel. And I also mentioned in my preamble, you have to decide if you want your rod to be flat like a pencil, or do you want it to still have some curvature. So I tend to leave a little bit of curvature in mine, which is why I don't do it on my planing forms, because I have to kind of go straight, and then I have to go at an angle to get the rind off, because my bamboo isn't flat. So it's basically go at an angle, go flat, go at an angle, and because of that, it digs into the forms and I can't use it. So I've just got this narrow piece. It's about 3/4 of an inch thick, and I have total control. And I've got a real nice hold down, which I think you saw in the beginning on my Tim Abbott form. Tim made this beautiful clamp for me in left hand, which is great. I use it all the time. It just holds the thing in place. It's a luxury item, but luxury is okay. Do you want heated seats in your car, or do you want a real nice clamp from Tim? It's all about priorities. So you decide if you want it. Now, you've probably heard a lot of guys are using a cabinet scraper. In the Garrison book, he used a cabinet scraper. I know that Wayne Catnaugh, who helped me learn to build rods, or he taught me way back when, using a cabinet scraper. They work well, but they're going to flatten the bamboo. So for my use, they don't really help me much, because they will flatten your bamboo, but they will do a very good job. One of the other problems with flattening your bamboo is by taking off the whole snow cone, if you will, that whole spherical top of the bamboo, you do remove a lot of power fibers, and you remove more than 5 thou of material on the top than you do on the side. So by doing it by hand, I'm able just to remove what I need until all I can see on here is faint pinstriping. So right now with the enamel on, you don't see any pinstriping. It's just kind of one color. And as you scrape off the enamel, you're going to start to see pinstriping. As soon as the enamel is gone and you can see those faint longitudinal lines of pinstriping, stop. You've removed the enamel, you're in good shape. If there's a little bit of enamel on the corners, don't worry about it, because when you plane this to size, this is not tapered yet, when you plane it to size, all the stuff on the corners is going to be gone. And then when you're standing off the glue, you can keep your eye open. But it is the hallmark of a good rod to have all that bamboo gone. So a lot of guys just don't take that extra bit of time, and it's a really nice step. And even some of the good rods, if you look closely, still have enamel on them. I know some of the Leonards, they took them off of the file after the rod was glued up. You could see vestiges of enamel in the low places, which is fine. But hey, you spend all this time making a rod, why don't you go that extra step and take it off? So by removing just enough enamel, you're not damaging the power fibers. You're exposing the grain, so to speak, of the bamboo. Those fine pinstripes is grain, and it looks great. So you want to get that off. So learn how to use a cabinet scraper. Just Just going to throw on my glasses here so I can see a little bit better. And we're going to take off some of this stuff here. So I basically go sideways, down the middle, down the other side. And you can see with a nice sharp scraper, I'm getting a great shaving. I always marvel at guys that do this. I don't really do this too often, but it's all about education. So that is about, well, under 1 thou, greater than half a thou, so call it 0.8 of a thou shaving. Nice and clean. The other thing I'll notice on mine is sometimes after, like I do a great job of flattening my nodes in the vise, but sometimes after heat treating, they do come back up a little bit. So when I'm doing this, I'm able to double check. This one's okay. I'm able to double check the node. And you can see when you go by, because you see all this pinstripe and then you see no pinstripe, and then the pinstripe starts up again. So it's not that exciting for you guys to watch me do this, but I go at an angle, and I go down the middle, and I go down the other side. I can see pinstriping. I'm in good shape. At close to a thou, it takes a few passes to get it off. Typically I would move my clamp up a little bit more. I'll just use my other hand here. There we go. And one thing too, by not sanding it, I'm not breathing the dust. You know, sanding, I used to sand, but it made a mess. And it's not good for you. So, this is typical of the type of shaving that you get. You know, really nice one-piece shavings. I'm going to take this out of here and show it to you, and I don't know if the camera is going to be able to help us out here or not, but I can't really see, so who knows. But there's this faint pinstriping. So I've basically got it all off. It looks really good. I'm going to leave it. Then I'm going to go to the biplaning forms now, plate it to dimension, glue them up, and then when I sand off the Urac, now when you're sanding off the glue, what you're going to see is you're going to have white glue dust or light colored glue dust, and then I do use sandpaper to get the glue off. And then it's going to change to a tan dust, which is your bamboo, and you kind of want to stop if you can. But you can look for any other spots where you may have missed in your scraping. But this looks great. I can see the grain of the bamboo. And because I haven't flattened the top, the width of these striations are the same on the side as they are in the middle, and if I had to use the scraper, I'd have big wide power fiber striations there. So I like to keep them around. That's a choice. You can take the enamel off whenever you want, but this is when I do it, right before planing, and it doesn't take very long. Probably the hardest thing in all of this is learning how to sharpen this little devil to get a nice edge. But there's a lot of actually YouTube videos on cabinet scrapers and burnishing a cabinet scraper, but you need a flat edge here, a flat edge here, and a flat edge here, and you can't use the right out of the package. They need to be prepared, and then using a burnishing tool you create a bird edge. So hopefully that makes some sense to you guys. Get the enamel off, get that beautiful grain showing through, and decide whether you want to have that little curvature on your rods or if you want to have a dead flat rod. That's a personal choice. Anyway, hope you had a great day, and we'll see you in the next video here on the Cane Builder YouTube channel.